To all the geeks and nerds out there, welcome back to another episode of Beyond Logic. And this is our squid farm. We're over at the AFK spot because I've got something to show you. One last thing to show you after last week's episode where we decorated the nether side of this thing. And before we do that, let's have a look down here because I can hear a whole bunch of noise. Let me show you. Look at all these. Look at all these pigmen. So yeah, we put this here. So we've got this this turtle egg here. Because pigmen spawn on these portal frames, and to get them out of the way so they don't go into the farm, we had this turtle egg to attract them, and it looks like we're getting a lot of pigmen. I've been doing a little bit of AFKing, and yeah, that was I was just about to record and I heard this noise and I thought, well, I wonder what that is, and yeah, just took a look down there and yeah, a whole bunch of pigmen. Anyway, let's just AFK here for a few more seconds. Just want to make sure a few squid go over to the other side because something has changed about the squid, and I think it's important that I show you because this is pretty epic. Check out these squid. They look like sentinels from the Matrix. Oh, this is perfect. So my good buddy White Rabbit, who has done a bunch of texture work for us before, he came through and he sent me this texture for the squid. So yeah, it's all in keeping now. So our squid now look like sentinels from the Matrix, and that really finishes off this project. I think that looks brilliant. We're still getting some pigmen in here. They still spawn in the portals, of course, and fall through, but not much we can do about that. I was thinking about maybe putting some wither roses down here, changing those to a full block, like some soul sand maybe, and putting wither roses on there to get rid of those. But yeah, not too worried about that. I think I'd rather just have ink going in here without the need for a sorting system or anything like that. So and speaking of ink, let's have a look how much we've got. I've done a little bit of AFK, as I said. So let's have a look. Oh, look at this! Check it out. We have got quite a few shulker boxes now. Was that 7 shulker boxes full of ink? That is good news because we do use a lot of black and grey in our builds, but yeah, that is great. Anyway, so on to today's project, and that is over in the Death Star. So let's get over there, and yeah, when we get there, I'll tell you all about it. And so as we fly back to the Death Star, we can talk about this week's project, and that is going to be inside the Death Star itself. We are going to be finishing up a whole bunch of rooms. We've got yeah, a bunch of things to finish off. And what I thought I'd do is, because finishing off those kind of rooms, because what I want to do is I want to add some more of the corridors. Some rooms we've got there that aren't quite finished, so I want to finish those off. And to do those individually isn't really interesting enough for a whole episode on itself. I don't feel like. But what I thought I'd do is, as I build this stuff up and complete some rooms, we can do a Q&A session. So I asked today on Twitter and also in my Discord and also on YouTube on the community tab for your questions, and I got quite a lot. I got quite a lot of questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some questions, and as we work through the episode, I'm going to be answering those questions and yeah, building up a whole bunch of stuff inside this Death Star because we are preparing for episode 100. So we've got 9 episodes left to get this world into some kind of ship shape and Bristol fashion, as they say. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today: tidying up, cleaning up, and getting some things finished. Because episode 100, I'm super excited about. It's going to be good. I tell you, it's going to be good. If everything works out as I hope it will, it is going to be very good indeed. All right, let's get started. And the first room we're going to tackle is this one. This is the Sugarcane Farm, and this is the first farm we built in the Death Star. And it's kind of we built it and then we kind of just left it. So as you can see behind me, we've got the ceiling that needs to be sorted out, and also this back wall right here. But apart from that, it's all enclosed. So if we have a look around here, all of these walls are all in place, and that's all pretty good. So I've already made a quick start, and I've added a mini corridor just here. So we have this transition from this big corridor that goes around our central core. But yeah, inside we need to do that. So what I thought I would do is extend this side over to this side. So this part here above the entrance looks like these walls, but it's going to be like a fake one. It's not actually going to work because behind here is where we actually have our sugarcane. And yeah, so we're going to do that. And then as far as the ceiling goes, I think what I want to do is I want to try and hide the ice if I can, and use some of the ceiling. Use some of the floor of the room above as the ceiling for this room, but also add a bit of depth to it as well, I think, because it's a bit flat at the moment from this angle at least. So that would be quite cool. So I think that's the general plan. And as we do this, we can answer some questions. And so to get the ball rolling, let's start off with some easy ones. So the first one that was a relatively common question was, what job do I do for a living in real life? Because this YouTube stuff, this is pretty much a hobby for me. Obviously, I take it very seriously, but it's not my full-time gig. So yeah, so for those that don't know, I'm a computer programmer. So I actually work for myself. I'm a freelancer, but I work for other companies building systems for them. So I guess that's where the kind of interest in the technical side of things comes from. I guess I'm an engineer. in real life. So that's where that interest comes from. And the other kind of questions I had was things like where I live and things along of that nature. So where I live in the UK, in the south. And that suits me pretty well because some of the times I have to get into London for work, so it's nice and easy to get in there if I need to. And the other thing is that the weather in the south is pretty perfect for me. I'm not a great lover of extremes of weather, so if it's like super hot or super cold, don't like that so much. But that temperate climate of the south is pretty perfect. And I guess the other stuff is just around sort of family. So I have 3 children, and They keep me on my toes, keep me busy. Pretty much dad's taxis these days. They're always either off to their friends or to various different clubs, that kind of stuff. Of course, we do a lot of stuff as a family as well. But dad taxis is definitely my number one role at home, pretty much. We are making some progress. So the back wall has now been done. That's all in keeping and filled in either side of our corridor, so that's all good as well. And I've made a start on the ceiling. This is the kind of thing I think we're going to go for. Keep it nice and simple. I did try to kind of encompass some of the floor from above to use as part of the ceiling, but it didn't really work out that well. But yeah, I'm going to do this. I think that kind of makes sense because we've got a lot of this white concrete, so having these kind of white concrete pillars that go across, or beams, should I say, some beams that go across. I think that makes sense, and it's relatively straightforward, so I think we're just going to carry on with this over here as we answer some more questions. But before we answer some questions, I gotta say I'm not a fan of scaffolding. I'm trying to use it. I was a bit skeptical in the first place, but just trying to actually use it day to day. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I'm constantly falling off. I'm trying to sometimes when I'm on the edge, I want to just reach a little bit further, so I hold down shift. That's just what I'm used to, and then I end up falling down through a block. Oh man, it's rough. It is rough. So I'm not a big fan of scaffolding, I've discovered. So if anyone else is wondering about that, yeah, not a fan. But anyway, let's get on. So the next question that I saw is from, let me just check. This is from WowMG, which was on Discord, and the question was, what is my favourite episode of Beyond Logic? And I'm not sure about what the favourite episode would be. Certainly my favourite build is the Enterprise by far. That is one of my favourite ships in all of Sci-Fi, and that came out miles better than I expected. Miles better. I did a whole bunch of like testing and things like that, sort of creative work in a creative test world. But with those kind of builds, because it's symmetrical, I only built half of it when I was planning, and kind of hoped that it would turn out all right once I saw the whole thing. And in the episode, that was the first time I saw the whole thing, sort of incompleteness. I kind of tested out the serial number in advance beforehand, but that was in like a separate part of the build. So but then seeing that all come together in one place, that was pretty mind-blowing, and I've run out of concrete so I need to get some more. But yeah, that is the favorite episode, the one where we built the Enterprise, and we have that cinematic at the end of that episode where we kind of fly around with that kind of really kind of cinematic music, and that was really epic. And this room is now done. The ceiling is in, the back wall is done, and I think this looks pretty cool. Pretty good stuff, right? All right, so let's head on over to the next project. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up a few levels, and we're going to do one of these corridors. I would like to get more done because we've still got about another 6 or 7 to do, I think, but if we can do one today, that would be a step in the right direction. And the one we're going to do is the one that just leads out here to the balcony of our hangar. So here is our hangar just through here, and I think it would be cool to have this corridor done here, and the one here, the main one that it links to. So that is the plan next. So what we're going to do is, as I'm building this up, I'm going to answer a few more of your questions. And this next question is from Ethan Swan, and Ethan asks, if I could add one thing or one item to Minecraft, what would it be? And what would it do if it was a tool? Well, I reckon, I had a little think about this, and I reckon that we need a tool or an enchantment that allows us to break glass much quicker than we can at the moment, because breaking glass is pretty much just a little bit slower than breaking obsidian, and if you've got a lot of glass to break down, that is pretty painful. So yeah, I'd like a way to break glass, obviously by keeping the block so it needs to be compatible with Silk Touch. I think that would be a game changer. And the next question is from Kestrel, and Kestrel asked, how do you go about coming up with the projects to work on? Well, that is a good question. Basically, what happens is obviously I'm working in my single player world, and normally it's a case of I have some resources that I need, and because of that, I then sort of step back from that and I think, well, I need these resources. How am I going to farm those resources? And then I do a bunch of research into that particular item, how I can farm it, or that kind of stuff, how I can get at that item, and then I try it, and then I hop into a testing world and just keep testing some things out until I get something working. Now, what I try and do is focus on less on efficiency. I'm not really interested in things being super efficient, but yeah, I want to try and make things fun and interesting, maybe a new twist on things haven't been done before, and yeah, that keeps things fresh. Now, of course, that's really good when we get a new version of Minecraft like 1.14 that's relatively recent, because there's obviously lots of changes there, lots of tweaks, and sometimes you can leverage those things to make something interesting. So a good example of that is the Wither Skeleton farm, because now dogs can, when a dog kills a Wither Skeleton, there's a chance for a skull to drop, so we could add that thing in that hasn't been done before, because it's a brand new thing. So that's the kind of things I look for, and yeah, how I try and design my builds. And Pasman has asked, what is the most difficult thing about making videos? Well, the most difficult thing for me is time. I'm pretty busy. I have a full-time job, obviously family to look after as well, and now we've got the 2 series running. It's pretty tough to find enough time to do a good job of all these things. So yeah, that is the hardest thing, is finding time. So in particular this episode, I've really had hardly any time to get some stuff together, but hopefully it's going to be all right. But yeah, that is the main thing, time. So I wish I had some more time. What I'd like to do maybe is try and get to a point where I don't think I'd ever be able to go full time as YouTube, but if I could get to a point where maybe I could just work 4 days a week and then have an extra day to do YouTube stuff, that would be amazing. So that's my goal. I think it's realistic, but that is the thing. Time is definitely the most difficult thing. Next question is from Brad RX05, and Brad asks, what redstone component would you like to have in the game that doesn't already exist? And also, what is your favourite redstone component? Well, I reckon my favourite redstone component is the observer. That thing is amazing. That has really revolutionised redstone, and it's got so many uses and such a simple concept as well. So that is definitely my favourite. And in terms of a new redstone component, I'd really like to see some kind of auto crafting, I think. And now, even if it's just something simple that allows you to craft down into solid blocks. So for example, when you have an iron farm, automatically craft down into iron blocks. Same for things like a Melon farm, or redstone for redstone blocks, glowstone, that kind of thing. That's a real time saver, because there's so many times where I go over to my farms and I have to craft them up into blocks. If that could be automated, at least, that would be super cool. Obviously there's the ones that Sci-Fi guys use at the moment that Mango has showed on his channel. That's like a full crafting table, and you can program it with redstone to craft basically any item in the game. That would be amazing. But yeah, one of those 2 options I think would be super cool. And next up is a question from Ivan, and Ivan asks, what is your favourite food? Well, I've got to say, it's a curry. I love me a good curry, and probably, to be more specific, I'd probably either go for probably a chicken katsu curry, like a Japanese style curry, or an Indian one, probably a balti or a jalfrezi. Oh man, I love me a curry, especially with some naan bread. That hits the spot. And here's a question we've had before from Speedy Chicken. Pineapple on pizza? Of course. Not even a question, of course. And Slicklight has asked, pirates or ninjas? Well, thinking about it, I reckon ninjas. Ninjas would definitely be the best, and in any category, whatever the context of that question, definitely ninjas. Gohan3R Drift has asked, in regards to a unifying theory between quantum mechanics and general relativity, what is your hypothesis, and do you have an existing theory you subscribe to? Well, I am no physicist, but I would probably go for, at this point in time, I'd probably go for string theory or superstring theory, because that's probably the closest thing we've got to an answer. If you just ignore the fact that it requires 10 dimensions and we only have 4, 3 spatial ones and 1 temporal. But if we can get rid of those other 6 dimensions and make string theory work, then we're probably on the way to something great. And here we are on the balcony of our hangar. And as you can see behind me as I pan around, we now have a corridor, which is going to make a big difference. So here's our hangar from the top, looking pretty cool. And yeah, now we have this corridor, which is pretty similar to what we've already seen around the place. So just in keeping, but I think that makes a big difference. And obviously now we have this full corridor. Again, something you've already seen before, but one of those jobs we have to just kind of keep going, keep kind of doing these things. And yeah, that's another one off of the list. So I think so far we've got 4 done. So we've got another 6 to go. And this place is now filling out more and more as we build more and more stuff. It's looking pretty cool. All right, so that is that done. Now, as I said in the time lapse, this week I've been pretty short of time. Other things have taken a lot longer than I expected, so I'm not going to make as much progress this week as I wanted to. But I guess we're going to have those weeks now and again, and this is one of those weeks. But yeah, let's move on to one more thing, and yeah, we've got a pretty big topic to talk about. But before we move on, we had a question from Lile Pasile. I hope I got that name right, because I'm quite famous for butchering names. And the question was, where is the ink sac that you found in the first episode? I don't remember. Did you build a monument for it? Well, we don't have a monument just yet, but if you look behind me, we have some key items on the wall just above my head there. And the ink sac is right there. There is the sacred ink sac that we got in episode 1. Approaching 2 years ago, in fact. Not quite there yet, but yeah, we are approaching that. And there is the last block we mined from the Obsidian Towers. And this is a book that we made on stream. It took us about 2 hours to make, and then it turns out it's too expensive to actually put on anything. So yeah, some items there that we're keeping handy. So that is where the ink sac is for anyone that wondered. And the next project for us to look at is this one. This is our melon and pumpkin farms, and here we have 6 silos, 3 for melons and 3 for pumpkins. And yeah, when we upgraded to 1.13, we had to make a fix here because there was a bug, and the bug was that if you had a block above a stem, then that stem would not grow, and so we had to go around and take out all the blocks that were above the stems, and that pretty much halved the capacity of these. So now in 1.14 that has been fixed, so we can put our blocks back again. And yeah, that means we can double our capacity, which is all good. Now I've done one already, so this silo here I've already done. I've gone in and added all of the dirt now, so we've got all of these different layers, and planted the crops on the new layers, so they're going to grow up, and hopefully we'll get some more stuff out of this, which is obviously super cool. So that is what we're going to do. Now as we do that, I'm going to talk about one more thing before we move on, and we've had a question which is pretty adept for this week, and that is from Pasman. And Pasman says, did you ever think that you'd reach this many subscribers and have such an awesome community? Well, that is pretty good timing, because this week we hit 20,000 subscribers. Now that is a pretty big number, and I can't really believe that it's actually happened. And not only that it's happened at all, but also that it's happened so quickly. I mean, so if we kind of think about this for a second, it took about a year and a half to get to 10,000 subscribers, which is obviously that's quite a long time. I guess in some ways it's a long time, in other ways it's really fast. I guess depends how you look at it. But then to get the next 10,000, to get from 10 to 20, and I've done that on the wrong blocks. Let's put that back again. Yeah, to get from 10 to 20, that only took another 2.5 months on top of that. So that is pretty crazy. So I guess there's a few reasons for that. There is obviously the resurgence in Minecraft at the moment. There's lots of interest in it. And so that's been really good for us. There's been the new version of Minecraft, and we put out some farms for that new version for 1.14. So we've got obviously the updated creeper farm. I did it again, the updated creeper farm, and the wither skeleton farm, and also the crop farm. So that definitely helped. And of course, we'll be doing some collaborations. Obviously, we did a series with Methods. Dissecting Minecraft, which isn't finished yet. Hopefully we can do some more of that stuff in the future. And yeah, obviously now we're working with Doc on Sky Zoo, which is obviously fantastic. That's a really big deal for us. An amazing opportunity there. And so that's that. So one thing I'm definitely interested in is, so first of all, welcome to all the new peeps. Welcome to the channel. And obviously a big thank you to everyone for all of the support. It's really, truly amazing. Everyone is so nice and supportive. It's really, 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 really great. And yes, I've got a question for all the new peeps. So if you found the channel recently, I'd be really interested to know how you found the channel. Was it through like a tutorial, or did you just find the series itself, or was it through some kind of collaboration? What was the how did you find the channel? That would be really interesting to know. So yeah, get it down in the comments about how you found us. That's super cool. And of course, where Pasman mentioned about the community, and we do have an awesome community. Now of course I'm biased, but yeah, that was one thing when I started YouTube that I was a bit worried about, about the comment section. People say don't never read the comments, that kind of stuff. But it turns out that yeah, this community is absolutely fantastic, full of really nice people, always willing to help, not just me, but each other as well. So that has been truly, truly amazing. So yeah, that is the big news for this week. 20,000 subscribers. Oh man, things are going pretty well. So hopefully that's going to continue, and yeah, I hope it does. And here they are, all done. I've finally done it all. All of the dirt is in place. So yeah, we'll see how many... oh, that's just harvested. And we'll see how many we get out of this thing. So that should increase the rates, which is, of course, always good. Always good stuff. Now, I did derp a little bit. I wonder if anyone noticed, but I started planting... as I was in here talking, I started planting melon seeds inside the pumpkin silo. But yeah, I managed to spot it before it was too late and went in and swapped out the ones that I planted by mistake. So that's all fixed. But yeah, this is good. So another thing off the list. So yeah, I've got a list, as I said before, of little jobs that I need to do, and that is another one out of the way. Now then, we've got one more job to do before we finish up the episode. So let's head on up here and yeah, get it done. And we haven't done this for a little while, but it is time to add a new name to the Hall of Fame. And that new person is Danny Dip. So Danny, thank you so much for all the support. So Danny has come over from Doc's side of things and has helped us out setting up Sky Zoo, getting the server all set up and stuff like that. So helping us support and whatever. So thanks for all your help, Danny. Really much appreciated. And I know you're new in the community. So if you don't know, you are now part of the Hall of Fame, which means you can now join the ranks of all these fine peeps over here. And what you need to do now is you need to find a head. So give us a name, a mob, any mob in the game, and I will go and kill them and get their head and add it to your statue. That's going to be in this place. Now, a bit of good news is that we've updated the data pack for the mob heads to 1.14. So you can now choose from any mob, including all the mobs from 1.14 as well. And some people make it super hard for me. So yeah, you know, go easy on me. But yeah, name your mob and we will get that head for you. And that is about it for another episode. We've ticked off quite a few small things off the list and did a Q&A session, so that was good fun. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, then please hit the like button. And if you're new, then feel free to subscribe. And if you've got any comments or suggestions, then get it in that comment section. All right, my geeks, until next time, I will see you later.